Okay, we're recording.
So has anybody got any comments on that?
I think we should, Don.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought we should too, because we haven't been doing the amount of testing that we need to do. And I think that until we get the testing up what we need, we really don't know what our actual numbers are.
I think we need to keep it.
Go ahead, Lindy.
I was going to say, I think we need to keep it through the 4 phases of reopening.
So any other, Paul, you were saying something or the same thing?
Don.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else got any comments on it?
Should we look at it and maybe we could let that one expire and issue a new one that's more relevant to the time? That one addressed the school closings.
Yeah, we probably should look at it and make sure it's updated, because sometimes,
You know, maybe we talk about the reopening and the next public health order we're going to talk about. What do you think about that?
I agree.
The order is separate from the emergency declaration.
okay.
Okay, so just keep the same one.
Emergency declaration is good for 30 days. The order has to be renewed every 5 days.
So we just did an emergency declaration.
Yeah. So we'll keep it, we don't make any changes to it, probably. We just renew it.
Don, will the renewal affect any reopening situations?
I don't think so, but we can check on that for sure, but I don't know.
I just
That's a
wouldn't
good,
want to hold off any reopening.
Well, the governor overrides us on any of those anyway, so it's.
Okay.
good point, Paul.
I just didn't want to have somebody come back and say, oh, you got the executive order here, you cannot do it.
Yeah.
That's all. I want to be ready to go when we can.
Okay, let me check on that first, but everybody's okay with it as long as it doesn't affect the reopening of anything.
Yes. Yes. And you could even put something that says upon reopening.
Yeah, or we could do it through we could put in about the phases even in there, that.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we need to do something on the phases, because people are struggling not knowing where they are in the phases.
And that's the other thing I got on my list is I'm hearing from different people that people think that May 15th they're just going to open their doors and be ready to open for business. And I think we need to put out a statement of some kind in that effect, because that's not true.
Exactly.
Is anybody else hearing that same thing, or?
I've been getting calls yesterday and today regarding hair salons opening, and they think that they were told they could open on the 11th. And I'm like, no, you cannot open on the 11th. Nothing's opening on the 11th. And we have a target date for the 15th, but that's only if our phase plan is, approved and ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that the governor is going to let us do this,
Exactly.
Yeah.
because his pause order ends on the 15th.
Right.
And phase 1 is just for contractors and manufacturing companies.
Yeah, so I think we need to get some detailed information out there with the press so they can help us out. People are going to the press and the radio stations and the TV stations looking for information, and they're complaining that there's not enough information for Franklin County stating what they're going to be able to do and what they're not going to be able to do.
So phase 1 also lists retail curbside delivery.
Do we understand what the retail curbside delivery
On the state call the other day, they more or less said that it was where you could bring it, like say it was a religious store that sold religious stuff. You call, you order what you want, they could deliver it to the curb to give to them. Because those type of places aren't really open right now. They're not supposed to be. As far as I know. And there's other, I can't think of them all, but there's probably a lot of little businesses like that.
that kind of blows my mind. We won't allow those to open, but we allow grocery stores and convenience stores that, you go into these convenience stores and there's, 10, 12 people in there at one time.
Yeah, and some of these shops are small too, where you can't move in them as it is, but.
That's why curbside.
So we need to put together a letter probably stating that the 15th is the date, and I don't know if we mail it to the businesses or if I don't know if there's a email for businesses through the chamber we could do, and then try to hit the ones that don't belong to the chamber, or give them to the town supervisors maybe so that they'll have them, so they can give the information to the town and mayors also. But, and just so that if the town supervisor has it, at least he has a smaller group of people to then send it out to the whole county. Because like Kip said on his DBAs, he has a list, but some of those people got off, like they aren't on there anymore. They had a business and it's gone, but it's still listed as a DBA until somebody goes in and actually takes it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he said about 50% of them aren't even official businesses anymore. Is there a way to get it by sales tax sale or something like that, Fran? I didn't figure it.
They won't release that information to me.
Yeah, I thought that's the way it was, but I just double checked.
I'm sorry, I dropped out a little bit because of phone problems. Has anyone asked Kip for a list of businesses?
I did, and that's what he told me. He says all he has is a list of DBA businesses that doing business as that have registered at the clerk's office, and if they haven't registered at the clerk, he won't have them also. And he said that 50% of them aren't even. How far do you want him to go back? And 50% of them probably aren't even in business now, or. So it's not a real good list. So that's why I'm thinking more of and I know like the three big towns have lots of them. I mean, like it's easy for me. I know where everyone in my district is, and they're easy to find, and every town supervisor knows. But you get in towns where they have 100 businesses, it's a little tougher to.
Right.
The paper is a good way to do it.
Well, he's on here, so maybe he could help us with that. Yeah. And then maybe we do a press release to each one of the papers so that everybody understands it better.
And then they can cut it out, and then we can, if somebody calls, read it to them.
Yeah.
I also think that the IDA has been working to put together a list of businesses. Maybe they could help.
Yeah, we can get a hold of Russ and send some information out that way too, maybe.
Yeah, I forward them everything I get as far as like I forwarded them the North Country Chamber training that's starting next week. And that if you're so inclined to send this out to your business listserv, then please do so. And I sent it to Mary Scarf and Patrick Murphy. Paul, and I sent it to Katie Stewart, but I'm not sure who in Tupper Lake I should send those things to.
Again, Donna.
Who should I send? Like I said, I disseminated the North Country Chamber's training they're offering next week to businesses on reopening. Who at the chamber in Tupper Lake should I send that to?
You send it to Katie Stewart?
I did.
She can give it to the chamber. She's in the same office.
Okay, perfect then. Okay, and she covers that office a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I still think that we should send it out to all the mayors and all the town supervisors,
Yes.
because if they don't come to us or the state, they're going to go to the supervisor and ask. And if a supervisor sees something that he thinks isn't right, he can say, I got this letter that says this. And I guess we should flood them with communications as much as we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we still get Kip's list for the?
If you want to go back, Linda, he has to know, he has to have a time period on how far you want to, I mean, that's all. Just tell me what time frame you want it from, and he'll get it for us. He doesn't have a problem getting it.
Because I think that's the only way we'll get contractors, because I don't think contractors typically go through the chambers.
And probably half of them aren't listed with the courthouse either, but.
Maybe go back 5 years.
Okay, I'll ask Kip to do that.
Just out of curiosity, Lindy, aren't they opening it up for contractors on the 15th? Those aren't the ones that are in question, right? It's the retail that we're looking for. Is that right?
The contractors want to know about getting reopened up on the 15th.
Okay,
And that's part of the chamber's training is on what you have to do if you do open back up, which is a good training, but a lot of them smaller businesses won't, like if you're a 1 or 2 man operation, you might not even know about it. We'll have Kip get it.
What's got it done to be in compliance? I mean, you know, trying to reach out to every business and some fall through the loophole. Who's going to be responsible?
All we can do is the best we can do, and we're going to miss some, there's no doubt, but I guess it doesn't hurt to try anyways, and like you said, they should be reaching out anyways.
Right, your supervisors, your mayors, and through the local media, I think broadcasting. I think you're going to get better results than if you forget somebody or leave somebody out.
Right, but it doesn't hurt to have the list anyways. You know, we can get it, and if you want to use it for your community, that's fine, and we go from there. I think.
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll just get it to everybody. One of the things Kim's on for about is our stop loss. Kim, do you want to go through and explain that a little bit and what the variances are?
Yes, hi. Sorry, the system here is a little funky this morning. So the stop loss insurance, as most of you probably know, is what we deem as excess insurance. So if one participant in our self-insured plan through a 12-month period reaches $150,000 currently, stop loss insurance kicks in. So the most liability we have in any one participant on our plan is $150,000. Unless there's a laser, they call it, which the policyholders, the insurance agencies for stop loss look at our claims over the last 12 months, and determine if somebody is a high risk, basically, for them. So we do have 2 lasers. One is a conditional if someone needs to get stem cell, and the other is if they get more of a RX treatment, a pharmaceutical, then it goes to 250 versus the 150. That being said, our policy renewal normally has been about a $30,000 increase each year, unfortunately. But this year, because we did have some high claims, like one was over 600 and some thousand last year. So with that being said, they've come back with a proposal, various companies, and they're increasing it by 46,000 versus what I estimated at 30,000. And so because it spans a 2-year budget, it goes from July 1 through June 30th. This year, I had budgeted an extra 15,000 when in fact I would need an extra 23,000 or 8,600 about difference. And so we could up it to 175,000 per participant and avoid that overage in this year's budget, possibly 8,300 I think is estimate. But if we do that, all we need are 2 claimants to land between 150 and 175,000, and it's been at a loss. So, like we pay out an extra 50,000 in claims, so any savings we would have seen in premium is lost. So normally Donna and I take a look at these things and make a decision based on the budget, but with the fiscal times the way they are, Donna recommended, and I agree, that we should have it discussed with the Finance Committee to see if we think we can go over the 8,370 approximately this year and avoid the claims next year of possibly spending 50,000 more in claims versus stop loss kicking in.
Greg, that's your committee. How do you feel about that?
Well, Donna and Kim, I think they're on top of this, and they suggest we do it, right, Donna and Kim?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a gamble. You hope that people don't have to use it, but It would just, as Kim said, we thought it would go up. We had anticipated about 30,000 annual, but it's 16,000 more. Insurance is going to go up with the pandemic. We just have to acknowledge that also during this pandemic time, insurances aren't going to go down on any level. So, and we have used it. We've really used our stop loss insurance over the years. So.
Right. In fact, our broker has mentioned that right now we're getting 17 cents back on a dollar for stop loss that we've paid based on our refunds or our reimbursements from stop loss that we've gained the claims.
Yeah.
So for example, that one person that had 600 and some thousand in claims in the last year, 653,000, all we had to pay on that was, that might have been one of the lasers. So maybe we paid 250,000 on that, but we got 400,000 back, and our premium was 300,000 and some in 1 year.
I would be in favor of it is, because I think if we go back and we do a 10 or 15 year spread on it, you're going to see that we've saved more than we've spent. In the way the cost of everything is today, I mean, you know, $250,000 even today is nothing in health insurance. But that's just my thought.
See who else is on that.
So, and you guys, I'm sure, have done this. When was the last time that we brought in or put it out to bid or had other companies come in and bid it for you guys?
Hi, Ed. Yeah, so our broker, ENV Insurance, they're out of Syracuse. We've used them for numerous years now. They actually put it out to bid every year for us. And so we have 1, 2, 3 companies that put a bid on it this year, and others that just said unable to compete. And there's like a list of 6, 7, or 8 of them. It's in that attachment you'll see that I had in the email with the color coding. So when they say unable to compete, they just either it was too much of a risk for them, or they just weren't interested, or it was out of their region or whatever. But when you look at the cost effectiveness, so at the quotes that came in, Ulico has been the company we've been going with because they have been the least costly. Excellus, who we carry our health insurance with, is like $200,000, almost $300,000 more than what we're paying currently, more than almost double. And then, so they do put it out to bid every year.
Okay.
And what they do is the agencies look at our claims. They get all the claim data, obviously without any personal identifiers, and they decide, okay, we're going to have a laser, which means that there's a claimant, a participant on our plan who maybe it's lung cancer, and they foresee that costing, $600,000 over the next year. They might say stop loss is only going to kick in at $250,000 versus the $150,000. So we have two lasers currently with this plan going forward.
Okay. So the broker that we use then is somebody that you guys just call and say, hey, we want to put this out to bid, or they do it automatically?
They do it automatically for us every year, knowing that our stop loss is due to renew on July 1st. For some reason, way back whenever stop loss, and I think when the county went self-insured, or I don't know why, but our stop loss plan starts July 1st. Others start January 1st.
Yep.
So I know I've looked into maybe us jumping on to a cooperative type of thing for stop loss insurance, which I'm still a little sitting on the fence about. But even so, we would have to bite the bullet for 6 months to join in January. I'm not quite sure. I've talked to various brokers on this, numerous ones, and they're like, yeah, you could. It would make it really wonky. I don't know how it would look to try to do that for 6 months.
Well, it sounds like you guys have done your homework on my part. I don't want to, micromanage. I'd just say that insurance is a huge business, right? And as long as you guys are double checking, doing that, hey, I support whatever you guys recommend.
Thanks, Ed.
Yep.
Anybody else got anything to say on?
No.
I would suggest that we go ahead.
Thanks, Lindy. So if everyone's in agreement, I'll bring it forward to our broker that will maintain at the $150,000 cap level per participant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
I just got an email from Kip and he must be on maybe or something. Sorry. He said he got 2,000 plus new DBAs in the last 5 years.
1,000? Wow.
Plus. Yeah. Yeah. So on the insurance, so let's go. It sounds like everybody's okay, Kim. I don't think we have anybody against it.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully, our claims, we've had a few, every now and then we get a high claim notice. I'm expecting another one for a helicopter transport to Burlington Hospital recently that I'm aware of. But we've had our lowest, Fran, you might tell me differently, but we just got our invoice from Excelis for the week was $14,000, and normally it's in the 80,000 range a week, 60 to 80, and high claims are over 100,000 in a week. So we might be able to, with these low weeks that we've had through the COVID and not as many elective surgeries going on, we might be able to swing it in the end to cover the stop loss this year for that extra 8,000 that we're expecting then.
All of the payments for the insurance have been decreasing.
Yep.
Okay. One of the things we wanted to talk about too was car dealerships. It looks like in the ESTD, Empire State Development's guidelines, that car dealerships can be open, can have people in their showroom, but they have to put a plan together and show that they're following the guidelines of the state. And I think the New York State Association of Car Dealers has given them some kind of direction on that. But like your major car dealers are probably in that, but probably the smaller dealers maybe aren't in that. Like the used car dealerships maybe aren't in that association. So we got to think about them also. So that's where probably the chambers doing that training would be a big help to some of the businesses. And it's online and it's on a webinar. So it's a conference call, one or the other.
And that's the North Country Chamber, right? That they can.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know all the car dealerships in the area. There's a lot of, like, the Fort Covenant has a small one. Rushton has a small one. Malone probably has 2 or 3 small ones. And Saranac probably the same way. I don't know if they sell cars in Tupper or not.
Constable.
They sell what? Boats? Okay, so I think we need to get the guidance to those
And
car
they
dealerships.
they can be open immediately, right? Or so if
this was on May 5th. This was enacted, so it's
Last night, yep.
it's
but if they have to have a plan, who do they give their plan to? Or when they ask what they need for their plan, what kind of guidance can we give them around the plan?
They don't need a plan the way I read it, Donnie. They have a plan. They have to follow the guidelines that are already sent out by New York State. Social distancing, masks, and then it says in there how they can, by appointment, doors open, they can still show cars. It doesn't say that they have to submit a plan to anybody, but they have to follow the rules dictated by the state is what it looked like.
okay. And there's a website they can go on to get those rules anyways. And I think you talked to a local dealer, so he already knows what he can and can't do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You sent us those rules, right? I thought I saw somebody sent them, right?
Yeah, that was from the other county, and then this morning Donnie sent it out, just the order by the governor's office.
Right. For all businesses, so that one is. It's determining whether a business enterprise is subject to a workforce reduction under executive orders is what it under ESD.
Right.
Came from NISAC.
Yeah.
So we need to probably, does anybody have any suggestions on how we contact all the dealers and?
Donnie, I just wanted to let you know, while this was going on, I emailed the contact I have at the tax department. They cannot report to us all of the businesses that are registered in the county, but there is a ST 240 report, which will list anyone that pays sales tax.
Well, that would be a big help because the majority of them do.
We have, obviously he said he has some people that do not do that, but this will give us the last 13 quarters. The only problem is he wouldn't be able to release it to me until probably sometime next week. So I will request it, but I won't have it until next week, probably.
I think we need to get something out there as soon as possible. The 15th's coming fast.
Well, they are doing their monthly distribution work right now. Our first sales tax deposit for the month, which wasn't good, so.
I can imagine, yeah. We'll talk about that a little later.
But I just wanted to let you know that I will request this list and we'll see
Okay.
what information we can get from it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so does anybody have a plan on how we can get a hold of dealers? And I know that, I think the three major, the ones that deal with the corporations are already, they've already got something, I think, but I'm worried about the other ones in between.
I think between the press and then maybe we do something social media wise.
Yeah, social media, it should hit, most of the dealers are there now, yeah.
And then we, each of us in our areas can just kind of call them up and say, hey, listen, this is what's on the street now. Give them the guidelines and help them get their doors open. I mean, we understand that automobile sales is a huge portion of our tax base.
Our largest, yeah.
So we need to help
Yep.
support them as much as we can. Because if we don't get them open now, people are just going to continue to keep buying outside the area where people are opening.
And our DMV is able to work with car dealerships to get cars registered and everything that they need.
Kip is on here now, so.
Yeah.
Kip, can you talk?
I don't know if he can.
He must be on one way too, yeah, okay. But I know one time when I talked to him, he said that his DMV couldn't, if all the car dealerships were gonna open up, he may need more help. I'm just seeing if he sent something, he wasn't yet.
So I can contact the dealerships in Saranac Lake.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to talk about Kip and his staffing. We'll have to talk about it afterwards, because
Can Kip call in from another phone or is he on his cell phone?
Hello.
Kip?
This is Kip.
oh, okay, you are on, okay.
Okay.
Well, I put it on mute because I was in and out of the office, so.
Okay. We've been talking about you.
Yeah, all good things, I'm sure.
This
This is,
is all the car dealerships back up in the county.
if you open up the car dealerships in the county, you're gonna have to open up the doors to the DMV office. It's,
And we can do social distancing and mask and all that.
we have a plan in place in my office as to how we would do that. But I mean, if you open up car dealerships, you gotta open up the office.
Well, the state has already opened up car dealerships, so it
Yeah,
isn't
I
us
know.
opening them, it's just getting the information to them.
But has the state opened up the DMVs?
That's the other
They,
thing.
they have
No.
not. I talked to the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles last night, and that may not happen for a while. So, I mean, it's a do damned if you do and damned if you don't kind of scenario. We're struggling now with people sending things in. You know, the dealers are sending things in, and it's a struggle. If you open it up to free for all, we're going to have every dealer in Franklin County and every dealer in Clinton County coming, because Clinton County's not opened at all. So it's a difficult scenario.
You're still doing mail, though, by mail?
Yep.
And how are the local
Yeah.
dealers doing it with you, the bigger dealers?
They mail it in or they drop it off with the security officer.
So we do have that option.
But
so,
Yeah, but there's a lot of mom and pop dealers around, so the traffic will really increase to the building.
Kip, to buy a little bit of time, the dealers still use 45-day permits, right?
Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, some of them, some of them put out, some of them have the access to tags themselves. So,
So even if we did open them up, we don't have the option of opening motor vehicle up. That's not our option.
not to foot traffic yet. No.
In the link that was sent from yesterday from the state, it says automotive sales conducted remotely or electronically with in-person vehicle showing, return and delivery by appointment only. So that doesn't sound like the dealerships are open.
Well,
Does to me.
and if you read there was another thing I read that said that I think it was one Ed said that they could try the car out, but they couldn't. The dealer couldn't go in the car with them. They had to let them go alone. And there was a couple of things in there that Ed said that came from the Automobile Dealers Association, didn't it, Ed?
Yeah, from the other county, and the governor. The way I talked to Assemblyman Jones this morning on it to make sure, and he was under the understanding as well that they're okay to be open. He said, they have to follow the guidelines set by the state. So, as far as the registering, maybe we just let them know that DMV we're still registering vehicles, but it's a slower process. It's not like it was, 8 weeks ago where you could get your tags and everything done in 25 minutes. I mean, they have to understand that there's a give and take, I think.
I would hope there's direction coming soon on opening motor vehicles up to maybe to a bigger extent or something. I mean, how can you open the dealers without doing the other?
Right. Donnie, is St. Lawrence County DMV open?
No DMVs are open to the public. What St. Lawrence County is doing is they have a drop box outside their doors. They're allowing people to drop things off. We tried that here.
Okay.
But I didn't feel it was safe with people dropping blank checks in a drop box, number one. And number two, we were spending more time going back and forth with people returning their stuff because they only have half a form filled out or they didn't have an insurance card. It turned into a real circus. So, I mean, Clinton County has nothing. They're not even answering the phone. St. Lawrence County has a drop box, but they're not answering the phone either. So.
Now, in Clinton County, Kip, they're still able to register vehicles. They're still selling vehicles remotely, correct? I mean, somehow they're getting them registered, right?
We're doing work with Parker's, Bailey's, a truck dealership in Champlain. We're processing their work because they're mailing it to us, and we're mailing it back out, along with our local dealers, Ellis's, a couple dealers in Saranac Lake, and a couple dealers down in the Messina way. So we are doing it along with all the dealerships out of the city of New York. We're still doing, we got 180 transactions yesterday. So, I mean, we're still processing dealer work. It's just, it's a different process as to how they get it to us.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I do get about 200 phone calls a day, just, and this is a little bit different from private people, from one person to another, how they register vehicles. And, we've been telling them they have to wait till it's all over with. Well, we're 2 months down this road now, and in the North Country, it's difficult for people to be without a set of wheels. So we've kind of opened that up to mail also here in the last few days, just because I don't know if he's going to open us back up here in the next 2 weeks or not. Talking to the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles last night, it doesn't look promising. I think we're still going to be into June before he opens up the DMVs across the state to public.
And then when you open, the flood of people that Kip's going to have in his office is going to be insane.
I mean, we've gone 2 months now without doing any licensing because you can't give anybody a permit. People that want to renew their license and have an eye test, we're not be able to do that. So we're going to get 3 months worth of back customers plus everybody that's coming in on the regular time. It's going to be quite a show down there when it does open up. So I just caution you to, you know, when you start talking about your dealers and getting dealers in there, the flood of people are going to think, well, that includes them also. So you're just going to have to be real careful about how you open up things down there. That's, you know, we won't have the space or the capacity. They'll be lined up down to the lower parking lot to get to the doors.
So maybe we're further ahead to kind of leave the auto dealerships aside, and if they can get all that information on their own, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Lindy's exactly right. My understanding is they are open to selling vehicles via the internet, things like that. There can be no person-to-person contact. They're allowed to look online, pick out a vehicle. It may be left out to them out in the parking lot for them to test drive, but there's no roaming through a dealership at this moment in time. He hasn't opened that up.
I think he has.
I don't think he has. I mean, you can talk to the car dealership association, but my understanding he hasn't. And talking to the
one in Onondaga County had moved even their salespeople, so there's a social distancing and all that. So maybe not, but okay. Maybe we need to get more direction on that before we.
Well, on the thing that you sent, Don, it says essential services including automobile sales conducted remotely or electronically with in-person vehicles showing, return and delivery by appointment only.
The good thing is that any dealer can mail them into KIP, and he's doing them that way. So, or dropping them off at security. So we're really registering the dealer's sales right now.
Yeah, we are.
What we're concerned about.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Okay. So let me see.
I think we need to have further discussion about this if we can. I don't know if we need to go in. There's something.
I think we need to take the letters that you got and maybe we can just get together as a smaller group. I mean, just a couple of us and talk about it or something and see if we can figure it out. And maybe we call the state together and try to get with the dealership in the state and try to get everybody on the same page, because apparently we're all over the place right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The other thing, Lindy did up a mock poster for the stores to say that Franklin County is enforcing the face masks if you go in the store, and the state has already put out the thing that you have to have it if you're employed in the store, and you're supposed to have it no matter where you are in public. But I think we need a little enforcement from the county to support that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I heard from Paul Maroon that store owners would be appreciative of having something official. Is that what you were talking about, Paul?
Yes, I think I sent everybody a copy of the Oneida County order. And so what happens is, I'll just use Stewart's here in Tupper Lake. They don't want to offend any of their customers in saying that we have to do it. But if the county, or in my case, if we did it in the village, they say, well, it's the law. You can't, I can't serve you unless you have a cover on. It's just like solid waste. Pickup trucks, you're supposed to have a cover on your pickup truck, or they're not supposed to let you go over the scale. I mean, it takes the onus off them is what it does.
Yeah.
So there's a proposed resolution?
Yes.
And then the poster would support that resolution and getting that out to the businesses as well. Kip, were you able to add the county seal onto that?
I don't even have anything.
Kip, he must have wandered off again.
So I sent out a third version of the poster to make it easy to put the county seal on. I made it so it's not a blue background, it's a white background, and the icons are bigger and yes.
Lindy, Paul Lozon had an idea where you say Franklin County requires everyone. Paul thought, just say it's the law. Because they're only going to reach, you know, Don, if I'm in St. Regis Falls and I go in to buy a sub at the store there, if it says it's the law, you have to have a mask.
Okay,
No. That's
It
what
does
Paul
help the
Lozon.
businesses.
good suggestion. I'll change that.
But everybody's okay with doing that from the county?
That was Paul Lozon's idea. I want to give him credit because I'm always picking on his dog.
Thank you, Paul and Paul.
So everybody's okay with that we put together that sign and that we get it out to all the businesses and we post it prominently on the doors or someplace at the county. Well, on the door, it'd have to be on the door. And we go in and maybe we put a letter with it from the business, from us, telling the businesses that this is the county's, that they just need to tell the people that are there that the county did this, not the store.
Exactly.
So we just got I agree. I think we should do this. We also got a letter from the convenience store owners saying they're scared as hell at what occurred out in Michigan of a security guard getting shot at a dollar store for asking someone to wear a mask. And they're saying they'll post it, but their employees won't enforce it. Was on the letter.
Well, all we can do is try. We can't go out and put a mask on people and things like that. We can just do our best efforts.
Yep.
Anybody else got any more comments on that?
So are you doing a resolution or is it just gonna be like a house vote? Like a letter?
Solution on this.
But it'd be right along the same lines as the state's resolution, right? Or the Onondaga.
It's the same. John Miller has a copy. I think I sent one to everybody.
Of Oneida.
Oneida, okay.
Yes, and I sent it out as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, everything is standard on the first page. It's the second page, the last two paragraphs. I'll just read them for everybody who's here. John and I talked about it this morning.
I'm back on.
Ordered, this commissioner, there they had the commissioners do it, shall apply to all facilities or retail establishments in the county of Oneida County, including those where the public gathers outside or waits in line. So custard stands, Racket River Brewery here in Tupper Lake, we had an issue the other night. 20 bikers came in with 2 people on the bike. They went inside, they sold them takeout beer. They were sitting outside. They weren't 6 feet apart. They didn't have a mask on. And the police went up very nicely and said, you know, you're supposed to have a mask on or stay 6 feet apart. And they all complied. But there's some people that don't believe this is real. And after you tell them 3 or 4 times, then at least you can say there's a law that says you have to do it or you're fined. It's not very complex.
And the fines are all defined in the governor's orders, so.
They're fined in the executive law.
Yeah.
The public health law talks about that.
Yes.
It's, I got it right here. It's considered a misdemeanor. You can be in prison for up to a year with a $2,000 fine.
Okay. So we're gonna get those put together and we're gonna put them out. And we just have to figure out how we're gonna distribute them, but I think
Don, excuse me, it has to be approved by the Department of Health. And why I use this, because this has already been approved by the State Department of Health. And we talked to Ricky and Katie on it, and they're all in favor of it. So there shouldn't be a problem.
okay, so it doesn't have to be approved by the State Department of Health, just the local Department of Health.
I think
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Katie would know. I forget what they told me.
Well, whatever we have to do, we'll have to do. It's, yeah.
Katie said she supported the public health order, so would you do a resolution today? And then,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
So before we do any more, we need, who can do the letters to the town supervisors on the 15th not being on the rules for the 15th, that it isn't just the day to open?
I can work on that.
Yeah, Penny, maybe you could work with her on that and help.
Mhm.
I can go down and meet with Penny and we can crank something out.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I think we definitely need to do that because there's going to be a lot of confusion in the next week or so. So,
Well, I think we can emphasize the phases.
yeah. And I don't think everybody's seen those phases, apparently. Okay, so we'll do that. And I don't have anything else on my list. I mean, anything else that anybody's got for before we go into the session?
Donnie, did you want me to discuss the sales tax?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yep, for sure.
So this payment included the AIM payments to the villages. So our distribution from the state was going to be $1,094,415. That's a drop of 21.8% on this payment. We, however, only received of that $885,454 because $208,961 was retained by the state to pay the village AIM payments.
I thought that I heard somewhere that the AIM payments were going to be only 50%. I read that somewhere. I don't know where I read it because I've read so many things.
They withheld the full amount of the village AIM payments. Our AIM payments to the village are $208,961, which come out the first pay in May, and then the first pay in December, they take the town money, which is $245,854.
Yeah. They get control of it, I guess, no matter what I read.
Just wanted to give you that heads up that prior to even the AIM coming out, it was a decrease of 21.8%. If we include the AIM reduction, it's 36.8% drop.
So our internet sales aren't bringing us up enough to make a big difference right now either, right? Okay.
No.
Fran, could you just give me those numbers again, please? Sorry.
Sure. So the state reported the distribution as 1,090,415.70, but they reduced that by the 208,961,
Okay,
which is the village AIM payments. So we actually were deposited, this morning deposit was 885,454.70.
got it. Thank you.
Fran, what was our deposit last year?
$1,400,268.65.
It's a lot of money to make up.
Could you say it one more time? I'm sorry.
Sure. I'm sorry, I said it kind of fast. $1,400,268.65.
Wow.
Quarter, right?
I'm sorry?
That's for one quarter.
That's for one payment. That's for the first distribution in May. So what happens is we collect it every month. We get our large distribution the first week of May. Second week of May is our balance of that month's payment. And then the third payment, which is the interest on the money they've withheld or they had held for us for the month.
So the deposit was 800,000.
$885,454.70.
And probably a lot of that money that we're not getting in sales tax is due to automobile sales being way down.
That's our number one collector, so I think that
Gasoline tax is going to be lower too because gasoline's a lot lower than it was. Yeah. So, okay. Anything else that somebody wants before we go into the regular session?
Oh, I had a few people that are expiring on the boards. Do you want to go over them? One's on the TAC board. and one's on the traffic safety board.
Yeah, you might as well bring them up and then we'll,
I had
I
sent
don't
an
want, we don't want
email.
names. We just want to, we can't really do names on here, can we? Although it's public knowledge of who's on those committees, yeah.
You have to if you want to reappoint them, or they can
It's public
stay on,
knowledge anyways.
or you can just let them stay on as a carryover till you want to do it, whatever way you want to do it.
I think it's a bad time to really change too much right now, but that's up to everybody else.
Why don't we just keep them on there for now?
Why don't we just keep them on there for now?
Okay.
So I just want to go back, because, you know, Fran's financial news,
Made you sick.
well, I was speechless, yes. So that is it's a rounding up a little bit, a 37% reduction in what we deposited last year. So we just, again, that's why every decision we make fiscally is critical.
For sure. And we have to keep looking because we got to do something for sure.
We've been working so hard to move forward, have a great budget and savings, and now all that work that we've done for the last, I'd say the last past 10 years in Franklin County has really made a huge change. It's the pandemic does. It's crippling us now.
Yeah, I mean, last year I came in the beginning of 2015, and last year, and Fran, you can say your nay, but it's the first time we really didn't have a cash flow issue throughout the year. And, can't say that right now.
No, but that's been a big factor in how we've been able to sustain through the beginning of this, is because we ended our year cash flow wise.
Just too bad to have to use up what we worked hard to get, but we got to do what we got to do.
But I guess we're stronger because of it at this point, because of the things that as a board and county departments have done during the last 5 years. It does make us at least stronger than we would have been.
And I think it makes us have a different look on everything that we're going to do going forward too, because we've realized some things maybe, and I don't know what they are, but there's probably some things we've realized that maybe we didn't have to do all the time or as much of.
Right.
Anybody got anything else? So we'll call the meeting to order. And whenever we vote on a resolution, we'll do it by roll call. We'll won't be talking over one another. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag,
to the flag.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll call the roll call. Legislator Lozon?
President.
Legislator Januszewski?
Here.
Legislator Dumas?
Here.
Legislator Lockwood?
Here.
Legislator Dubuque?
Here.
Legislator Maroon?
Here,
Legislator Ellis?
Here.
Okay, so I have prepared the minutes from the April 16th, 2020 and April 23rd, 2020 meeting.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
so moved.
I'll second it, Ed.
Second.
You got that, Penny?
Paul Maroon is dead, right?
Okay, in discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. I forgot we were doing a roll call, but we'll do it from here on over.
Okay, for correspondence, I have, semi-annual mortgage tax report from Kip Casava, Franklin County Clerk for the period of October 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2020.
Motion is second to accept that.
I'll make a motion.
Andrea's raised her hand there too, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you, Kip, for giving us that information, and all in favor, say aye.
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 Just something you do without even thinking, so I'm sorry.
Okay. So I'll do the resolutions now. Resolution number 105 was offered by the Administrative Committee relating to authorizing to amend resolution number 103, authorizing the county manager to lay off certain identified county employees during the COVID-19 pandemic.
So moved.
Paul Maroon, the second.
Greg?
Greg?
So moved.
Okay, I can see your hand now, yeah. Any discussion? You want to do a roll call vote now, Penny?
Yep, okay. Legislator Debut,
Yes.
Legislator Maroon,
Yes.
Legislator Ellis,
Yes.
Legislator Lozon,
Yes.
Legislator Januszewski,
Yes.
Legislator Dumas,
Yes.
Legislator Lockwood.
Yes.
Motion
Resolution passed with 7 ayes. Okay. Resolution number 106, offered by Administrative Committee. It's related to the mortgage tax schedule.
Okay, can I get a motion in a second? Paul Maroon?
I'll second it.
Greg? Any discussion?
Penny, you'll send that out to all of us?
Yes, I did send them yesterday, but I can send it again. Okay.
That's fine, thank you.
We'll do a roll call vote again?
Legislator Debut,
Yes.
Legislator Maroon,
Yes?
Legislator Ellis,
Yes.
Legislator Lozon,
Yes.
Legislator Januszewski,
Yes.
Legislator Dumas,
Yes.
Legislator Lockwood.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passed with 7 ayes. Resolution number 107, offered by Human Resource Committee relating to authorization to amend resolution number 99, authorization to establish charges, public health services.
Motion and a second? Andrea? Second it? You know, a lot of squeaking, eh? Can we get a second on that?
Second.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Okay. Want me to do a roll call vote?
Yes, please. Yeah, we're gonna do a roll call vote on them all.
Okay, Legislator Debut,
Yes.
Legislator Maroon,
Yes?
Legislator Ellis,
Yes.
Legislator Lozon,
Yes.
Legislator Januszewski,
Yes.
Legislator Dumas,
Yes.
Legislator Lockwood.
Yes.
Okay, passed with 7 ayes. The next resolution, it didn't make the deadline time requirement, so it needs to be offered without objection. It's resolution number 108, offered by Economic Development Committee relating to appointment to the Franklin County Tourism Advisory Board.
Okay, can I get a motion in a second?
Who is it?
It's Todd Popino, He's the head guy at the casino now. He took Emily Lozon's place there.
I think he's an ex officio TAC member
Yes.
that would need to, but he needs to be invited to the meetings.
Put on the mailing list, yeah.
And on the mailing list, but he was before, and his term ran out maybe the end of December. I can't recall, but so yeah.
I'll move that.
Okay. Can we get a second? Okay. Any more discussion?
Okay, legislator debut,
Yes.
legislator Maroon,
Yes.
legislator Ellis,
Yes.
legislator Lozon,
Yes.
legislator Januszewski,
Yes.
legislator Dumas,
Yes.
legislator Lockwood.
Yes.
You're a little early, Ed.
Okay. Nice. Now we have one from the floor. Resolution offered from the floor, so it needs to go without objection. Resolution number 109, offered by the Franklin County Legislature relating to public health order to wear a mask or cloth face covering when in a public place and unable to social distance.
Paul Marone made the motion. Did we get a second?
I'll second that.
Yes.
Any discussion?
Don, I just want to say a couple of things that we'll have to let the county attorney, there is some changes from the Oneida County one where it would say Franklin County. And of course, if it has to be signed by the Director of Public Health, I would say that we allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing is just so as Ed, the Malone telegram's on there, this is not to be, we don't want to be mean. We don't want to be Clint Eastwoods, but we want to make sure that the people of Franklin County are safe. And we know that people are coming in to all parts of the county from outside of the county. And it's no big deal, like Governor Cuomo said, have a mask around your neck. And if you go into a business, you put it on. If you're within 6 feet of somebody else, you put it on. And it's not to protect you, it's to protect the other person. And, you know, we hope we don't have to do any enforcement, but if you don't put teeth into something, there are people in Franklin County that still don't believe this is real. So we're protecting our families and others from both people here and from without the county.
By wearing a mask, it might be done sooner than it could be without wearing them.
And the governor certainly will be pleased with this in our overall plan because he says it every day, wear a mask, wear a mask. So
Yeah.
this is right in line with what he wants too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any more discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Legislator DeVue,
Yes.
legislator Maroon, legislator Ellis,
Yes.
legislator Januszewski,
Yes.
legislator Lozon, Dumas,
Yes.
legislator Lockwood.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passed with 7 ayes. And that's all the resolutions I have.
Okay, anybody else got anything else to bring before the board?
If I can just say one thing on this resolution, the effective date, if it is today or whenever, you know, I think John and the county health people should look at it, but we should, at least and Mayor, I'm instructing my police department that we're, you know, people have a time to get this in the paper so they know that this is law. We're not going to arrest anybody, but people will start telling them right away. And Lindy, as soon as you can get those signs with that thing that says this is the law, we can distribute them to our businesses in our districts.
I already sent out a revised poster saying that it's the law. Kip, we need Kip to put on the county seal on that.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before the board? Do we have any executive session issues or anything that we have to discuss? I don't know of any, but I don't know. No? Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn then.
I make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Later.
What's that?
Are we done?
Well, the meeting is done. Well, you can say what you gotta say.
Oh, no, I thought you guys were hanging up.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, okay. See everybody later.
Bye.
Yeah, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Nice, Mayor.
Hey, Donna, if you can get Kip to put on that seal.